Star Trek The Next Generation Season 1 on Blu ray. We are watching episode Where No One Has Gone Before. This is for day 7 of 30 of my 30 days of Star Trek reviews. So let's go. It's cool to see him using the Excelsior model
With the USS Fearless, from which a Starfleet propulsion expert
being
and his
repurposed
assistant
as
are beaming
USS
over to
Fearless.
conduct-
All right, so this episode I watched with all my kids actually, 7-year-old, 4-year-old, 2-year-old, and 0-year-old, 6 months. And my 7-year-old was saying, "Who's the bad guy in this episode?" I said, "There's no bad guy in this episode." And he's like, "Really? Is that the bad guy?" Nope. He's like, "Is there a bad guy in this episode?" And it's like, not really. I mean, I was talking to my wife, like, this guy here is just like a super arrogant douchebag, but he's not the bad guy. Also, look at his rank insignia. Look at that. They've been calling him Mr. Kozinski. I think that's his name, but like Mr. as in like a warrant officer, like in the army, because they're not calling him lieutenant or anything like that, and they're not calling him, like a lower level. So they're calling him Mr. So I don't know. I don't know what rank he's supposed to be in this. So with this traveler guy here, boop, and Wesley. So at first it's like a little bit, I don't know if creepy is the right word, but where this traveler guy just has like, seems like such an interest in Wesley, and he's like clearly this older guy, and they're just like always like 3 inches apart from each other. But he just seems like he's tutoring him or testing him. So throughout the episode, you're like, why are they so close? But by the end, you find out that he's actually there for Wesley. I think my kids were pretty nervous during this part because it's like scary sci-fi unknown stuff. Like the engine's like, what's gonna happen? Look at that.
Captain, we're passing warp 10.
I once heard someone say warp 10 is like all speeds, like being everywhere all at once or something. Like warp 1 through 9 are like a multiplication of light speed, but then warp 10 is like being everywhere in all places at all times at the same time or something. I don't know. Anyway, I love watching all the galaxies fly by. It's like, you'd have to be going so fast for that to happen. So this is actually one of the really good episodes. Like even with the cheesy like Traveler, Alien, and Wesley Crusher stuff, like just like sci-fi wise for these guys to have gone like 200 million light years away, and then one to just be so far away from home and just be sitting there being like, oh my gosh, we should just like study everything because we're explorers and no one's ever been out here. But at the same time, they're like, oh, we got to get home. But as they go even further out, and they basically cross to where like space, time, and thought and everything all blend together, and all of their thoughts start becoming realities on the ship, and you get to see all kinds of crazy things on the ship. I really, really like that. I think this is a fun episode. So Worf envisions this Klingon Targ, which is basically like a boar with a bunch of like makeup and spikes glued onto it. All right, here comes, again, another thing that someone's imagining. So Picard imagines this, and I just think this is one of the most iconic Star Trek images right here. So cool. Look at that. Okay, so one of the reasons this particular image sticks out to me is because again, referencing the Star Trek card game, they use this image for the alternate universe door, which allows you to play cards from different times in the same timeline. So that would allow you to play like Kirk with Picard, basically. But I love this card, and it's a very important card in the game. And I was able to find a foil version, so that's like the shiny version. Anyway, so I like this part in the episode. 1, because it's just really cool and incredible looking, but 2, because it reminds me of a really cool card from the game that's really important in the game. And then it reminds me that I got a really cool shiny foil version. So yeah, I mean, you're not really a captive audience because you could click away, but I'm going to show you my stuff. So Picard's walking around the corner in the hallway, and he sees this, and my initial reaction is to be freaking terrified, because I swear in movies and TV and horror, whatever, they make old people and little children just like the most terrifying thing ever. I don't know why, but that's not the case here.
You look tense, John. Come and
Also, the music's like more mystical and like heavenly sounding.
I'll make it good and
He says like
strong.
Mema? Is that his mom or grandma? I don't know. She offers him tea. But
Talk.
listen to this.
Can't be. You've been.
Dead.
She knows she's
But
dead.
I'm always with you. You know that.
Yes. I felt that. But why now? Suddenly.
You mean out here?
Okay. So I want to unpack that a little bit because this part struck me the most, probably out of any other part in the whole episode. So he says, he's like confused, and he's like, why are you here? And she finishes the sentence. She's like, I'm dead. And he's like, yeah, what are you doing? And she's like, I'm always with you. And then he says, yes, I've felt that. But why are you here now? So obviously now this is just like an illusion, but him saying, I've felt that, to her saying, I'm always with you, is not at all referring to this scene or this weird like imagination part of space that they're in. He's referring to earlier in his life. He's felt her with him. I think that's interesting. That's kind of a spiritual nature to Star Trek that you don't normally get. It does occasionally pop up, but that is one time right there where Picard says he can feel her always being with him. So very interesting. Really like that part. So this part's really interesting. This is kind of going to the Traveler Wesley plot here, where this alien guy right here, boop, he's talking to Picard about Wesley, and he's like, he's the reason I travel. So listen to this. This is interesting.
You have it in your power to encourage him without interfering. Encourage him in what?
So now this guy is basically comparing Wesley to Mozart, and he's kind of going through Mozart's abilities and talking about how amazing he is. And then he's going to directly compare Wesley to Mozart right here.
But seen and felt beyond the understanding, the ability of others. Wesley is such a person. Not with music.
Saying Wesley's
but
like
with
Mozart.
The equally lovely intricacies of time, energy, propulsion, and the instruments of this vessel, which allow all.
He's saying Wesley will be like Mozart, but with time and propulsion and space. Like that's very intriguing. Wesley's annoying, but this like plot point almost makes you like forgive all of his annoyingness and just be like, whoa, like what are you going to accomplish? Like that's very interesting that this alien shows up and basically says you're like a space and time savant in utero.
We play. You're right, I must hurry now.
So he tells Picard to encourage Wesley, but don't tell him, and also don't tell his mom. But that's so cool. That's such a fun idea. So this part's really interesting. Picard is basically making a ship-wide announcement that everybody needs to control their thoughts and not have random thoughts, and they all need to think of good thoughts towards the Traveler so that he can help them get back. And it's like, it's almost like they're like jointly praying for this guy for his well-being. It's really interesting. And then you actually see that it works. So the power of thought they talk about how is more powerful than we know. So they talk about how these guys all thinking well-being thoughts towards this Traveler guy actually does help him and sustain him in bringing them home. Also, I paused it here because look at her earrings. At first I thought it was like a blue lobster or something. Honestly, I'm not really sure what it is, but like kind of looks like a bird with its wings like forward. I don't know. And look at what we have here.
Or on the welfare of the one called the Traveler.
We got another one of those.
Some of your strength.
We got another one of those Federation dude dresses. So I kind of thought earlier that they weren't going to pop up again. So they're still popping up here, but they do eventually disappear and you never see them again. But yeah, I think part of the moral lesson in this one was Picard telling everybody to control their thoughts and think good thoughts and don't be tempted, and everybody give your well-being thoughts to that guy. So that's like a moral lesson to have discipline in your thinking. Now here, I like this part. Picard's been so annoyed with Wesley, and now here he is encouraging him in a way that he has the power to do so. So I actually really like this part. I think it's cool.
Captain's log, stardate 41263.4. For outstanding performance in the best Starfleet tradition, Wesley Crusher is made acting ensign with the duties
Aww.
and privileges of that rank.
Look how happy he is.
And whether that rank becomes permanent, Mr. Crusher, depends on you.
Anyway, so this is cool. Picard obviously believes in what the Traveler told him and is willing to try and encourage him, which is he has the power to make him an acting ensign and let him learn the ship. But really, what we should get from this entire episode is look at that sweater. Oh my gosh. That is a crazy sweater. He's got crazy sweaters. They are so intricate and wild looking. Anyway, this has been the episode where Next Generation changed that to where no one has gone before. This episode is called Where No One Has Gone Before, and this has been review day 7 of 30 in my 30 days of Star Trek review series. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think of this episode, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.